If you're shopping for a used Mercedes GLC, one wrong year and you're looking at a five-figure repair bill. Same badge, same look, completely different ownership experience depending on the year on that title. And here's what makes it so easy to get wrong. You walk onto that lot, you sit inside one, the leather hits different, the dash looks incredible, and your brain starts doing math that your bank account can't afford. That's exactly what the dealers are counting on. So before you fall in love with a year that's going to drain you, watch this first. Today we're cutting straight to it. 3 years to avoid, 4 years to buy. Let's go. Quick context first. The GLC is Mercedes' best-selling model globally, not just in the SUV segment, the entire Mercedes lineup. It outsells the C-Class, the E-Class, everything. And it makes sense. It hits the sweet spot of luxury feel, practical size, and a price point that gets into more driveways than the bigger models ever could. But here's what the commercials don't tell you. Mercedes was moving fast when they launched the GLC in 2016. New platform, new engines, new transmission, new tech. All of it at once. And when automakers move that fast, the early buyers pay for it. That first generation, 2016 through 2019, is where most of the pain lives. The refreshed lineup from 2020 onward is a different story entirely. Keep that in mind as we go through these. The 3 worst years. Number 1, 2016. First model year, first generation, maximum problems. The 7G Tronic transmission is the headline issue. Hard shifting, hesitation, and full failure reported as low as 50,000 miles. Replacement runs $4,000 to $8,000. On top of that, the command infotainment system was buggy, and panoramic sunroof seals failed on multiple owner reports. But let's talk about what 50,000 miles actually means in the used car market right now. That's not a high-mileage vehicle. That's barely broken in. That's someone who bought it, drove it to work for 3 years, and then found themselves at a dealership service counter with an estimate that made them reconsider their entire relationship with German engineering. The transmission failure on the 2016 doesn't give you much warning either. It's not a slow decline you can budget for. It's a hard shift that gets worse, a warning light, and then a number on a piece of paper that ruins your week. And the command system issues weren't just inconvenient. When your infotainment unit starts freezing in a car at this price point, it affects everything. Navigation, phone connectivity, climate controls, and some configurations. A full unit replacement runs anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, depending on the trim. That's on top of everything else. Skip the 2016 completely. There is no price low enough to make it worth it. Number 2, 2017. Mercedes heard the complaints, but didn't fix everything. Turbo lag and engine hesitation became the new headline problem, and that kind of strain on the turbocharger adds up over time. Tech bugs carried over from 2016, parking sensors generated false alerts, and dealers priced 2017s like bargains, which makes them dangerous. You think you're saving money until the repair bills start arriving. Here's the specific thing about turbo lag that people underestimate. It's not just an annoyance when you're trying to merge onto a highway. Repeated boost pressure inconsistency puts stress on the turbocharger seals, the wastegate, and the intercooler connections over time. A car that hesitates and surges through its power delivery is working harder than it should be every single time you press the accelerator. Multiply that by 3 years of daily driving before it hits the used market, and you're buying someone else's accumulated mechanical stress. Turbocharger replacement on the GLC 300 runs $1,500 to $3,500. Not catastrophic as a single repair, but combined with the leftover tech issues, the parking sensor problems, and the general first-gen fragility that hadn't been fully resolved yet, the 2017 adds up faster than it looks. The other danger with 2017 is the pricing psychology. Because it's a second year with a slightly better reputation than the 2016, sellers price it like it's a step up. But it's not a big enough step up. You're paying more than a 2016 and still inheriting most of the same risk. That's the worst of both worlds. Number 3, 2018. Almost good. Transmission mostly sorted, infotainment improved, but the 2018 introduced a new problem: suspension. Air suspension failure rates spiked on this model year, and air suspension repair runs $1,200 to $4,000 depending on how far gone it is. Once one corner starts failing, the others follow.
Not worth the risk when better years cost similar money. What makes the 2018 suspension issue particularly frustrating is how sneaky it is. Air suspension failure doesn't always announce itself with a dramatic breakdown. It starts with a subtle sag when the car sits overnight, a ride quality that feels slightly off but not wrong enough to take in, a warning light you dismiss for a few weeks because the car still drives fine, and then one morning it's sitting low on one corner and you're getting the full diagnosis: compressor, struts, control module, and the estimate is not a small number. The other thing about 2018 air suspension failures is timing. These cars are now in the 6 to 8-year-old range. Air suspension components have a finite lifespan, and on the GLC 300 specifically, a lot of those components are right at the age where failure becomes statistically likely. You're not just buying a car with a known issue, you're buying a car where that issue is about to become your problem if it hasn't already. If someone shows you a 2018 GLC at a price that seems too good, ask specifically about the suspension. Get it on a lift, get it inspected, because the discount you're seeing on that window sticker is exactly equal to the repair bill that's 6 months away. The 4 best years. Number 1, 2020. This is where the GLC becomes the car it was always supposed to be. Mercedes recalibrated the transmission, fixed the engine hesitation, and replaced the outdated command system with MBUX, which is genuinely excellent. Reliability data from Consumer Reports and J.D. Power both show a sharp drop in reported problems versus any first-gen year. This is your baseline for a safe GLC purchase. MBUX deserves a specific mention here because it's not just a software upgrade, it changes the daily experience of owning this car. Voice recognition that actually understands natural language, a display that's responsive and intuitive, over-the-air update capability that means the system gets better over time instead of feeling more outdated every year. If you've ever sat in a 2017 or 2018 GLC and fought with command, getting into a 2020 feels like a completely different vehicle, because in a meaningful way, it is. The powertrain in the 2020 also finally feels sorted. The throttle response is smooth, the transmission shifts cleanly, the boost delivery from the turbo is linear and predictable. These aren't small improvements, they're the difference between a car that feels engineered and a car that feels unfinished. For the used buyer, 2020 also hits a sweet price point right now. Old enough to have taken its big depreciation hit, new enough that major components are well within their service life. With a full service history and a clean pre-purchase inspection, a 2020 GLC is genuinely one of the best value propositions in the used luxury SUV market today. Number 2, 2021. Everything that 2020 fixed, the 2021 refined. Driver assistance systems finally work consistently, build quality tightened up during lower volume production, software is more stable. If you find a clean 2021 with documented service history, buy it with confidence. The driver assistance story on the 2021 is worth expanding on. Active brake assist, lane keeping assist, and the radar-based adaptive cruise control all perform with a consistency in the 2021 that earlier models never quite achieved. These aren't just convenience features, they're safety systems. And when safety systems generate false alerts or behave unpredictably, as they did in some earlier GLC configurations, drivers stop trusting them and turn them off. On the 2021, they work the way they're supposed to. You leave them on, they do their job. That's what you're paying for. Build consistency on the 2021 is also quietly better than people give it credit for. Lower volume production during supply chain disruptions, as counterintuitive as it sounds, often correlates with tighter quality control. Fewer cars moving through the line means more attention per vehicle. The 2021 GLC reflects that. Number 3, 2022. The sweet spot of the entire GLC lineup. Every first-gen issue is gone, MBUX is fully mature, and the powertrain is as sorted as it gets. You're also still buying a model year young enough that major components have plenty of life left. If budget allows, this is the one to target. The 2022 also benefits from Mercedes having had 6 full years to understand what GLC owners actually want and use. The seat comfort is better, the sound deadening is improved, cabin refinement took a noticeable step forward. These aren't things that show up in reliability data, but they matter enormously to daily ownership satisfaction, and the 2022 gets them right in a way the earlier years simply didn't. Certified pre-owned 2022 GLCs are out there right now at prices that make a lot of sense. Mercedes CPO coverage extends the warranty significantly and includes roadside assistance. For a model year this recent, CPO is absolutely worth prioritizing over a cheaper private sale without coverage. Number 4, 2023. The final year before the all-new second-gen GLC fully took over, and Mercedes sent it off strong. Updated tech, tightened reliability, and strong resale value that actually works in your favor if you plan to sell or trade in a few years. Certified pre-owned 2023 GLCs are starting to hit the market now. That's where to look. The 2023 also carries something the earlier years don't, the benefit of every lesson Mercedes learned across 7 years of GLC production. Every complaint, every warranty claim, every service
bulletin fed back into the engineering. The 2023 is the most polished version of this generation, full stop. If you're spending at the top of your budget and want the closest thing to buying new without buying new, this is it. One final thing before you go shopping. If you're considering a first-gen GLC, 2016, 2017, or 2018, and the price seems too good to be true, it usually is. Those repair costs aren't hypothetical. They're documented, they're common, and they land without much warning. And here's the number that should follow you into every dealership. The average annual maintenance cost for a first-gen GLC with a problem history runs significantly higher than the segment average. We're talking about a car that can cost you $2,000 to $4,000 per year in unplanned repairs if you land on the wrong year. The right year, 2020 and newer, brings that number down dramatically. The difference in purchase price between a 2018 and a 2020 is often smaller than 1 year of bad repair bills on the earlier car. Do the math before you fall in love with the badge. Stick to 2020 and newer. Get a pre-purchase inspection from a Mercedes specialist regardless of year. Pull the full service history before you sign anything. And if you're going CPO, confirm exactly what's covered and for how long. That's it. Drop in the comments, which year are you looking at? We'll tell you straight. Like and subscribe if this saved you from a bad deal. See you in the next one.